Hey, how's it going? I just wanted to talk about the very strange and interesting day I've been having. Well, I mean, actually it's after midnight, so I guess it's yesterday. I guess it's yesterday now. Um, I have no plans for these except I thought I would just pull some when it felt like the time to while I was talking, just to see what happens. Oh my, I'm just a wrinkled mess. And I can't really do anything about it. Okay, let me see if I can just pull it down. Alright, that's better. Okay. Hi, please look at my signs. I'll stop waving the phone around. Okay. Well, that is just terrible. Sorry. Having fun with angles. So today I woke up and not immediately, because I've learned not to do that. After I spent some time slowly waking up and just hanging out with my cat, then I picked up my phone and looked at it. Or went to look at it. I am a blue sky person, and so I wanted to see what had happened overnight or whatever, and I pick up my phone and go to blue sky, and for some reason I'm logged out. I never log out. I just stop looking at it and click over to something else. Once I'm logged in, I tend to not mess with it. That may not be such a great idea, but that's what I do, and it's been fine for many years with other platforms, and I'm talking over a decade. This thing I'm about to tell you has never happened before. So I go on there, and I see I'm logged out, and I'm like, okay, and I go to log back in with the last password I put in, and it's all, nope. That is wrong. And I'm like, what do you mean it's wrong? I'm the only one on the account. I don't live with anybody else that's going to be on my phone logging me in or out, which means it wasn't happening here. But here's the other thing that was very strange. I made a new password, which I hate doing because I hate passwords. Pain in the butt to remember them, pain in the butt to come up with them. And the people that want to get in your stuff are always figuring out new ways. It's it just feels defeating, you know? So anyway, I did the thing, and I'm looking at blue sky, la 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 la, and then boop, it's out, it's gone. I'm logged out again. I'm like, what? And I'm like, okay, and I put the password, the brand new 15-minute-old password, put it back in there, and it's all, nope, that is wrong, that is not your password. And I'm like, what? And I entered it 3 times, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just do another one. So I did it again, and the exact same sequence of events happened, and I was saying many curse words. I had many curse words to say in the moment. But I realized I had found out something in the past when my iPhone that I got as an upgrade from Xfinity Comcast, they neglected to do a factory reset when giving me this previously owned phone, which it should not have been a used phone. It should have just been a whole new phone, because that is what I was paying for. But I get the thing, and they didn't do the factory reset, and it's got the previous owner's significant other's iPod on there, and that significant other was a piece of crap. So I finally did dislodge this person from my phone, and for a while they were really bothering me because they still, while they were in my phone, they helped themselves to all of my passwords, and even was messing with, they changed the password on my Social Security app, which was a pain in the butt. It still is. Like, I don't know if that, see, that password kept getting turned off too. So I was just going to say I thought I got rid of that guy, but I'm just not sure. So I don't know if it was this guy, again, still messing with me. But what I figured out was, if he was getting my passwords from the phone, then I'm not saving the passwords in the phone anymore. And that has been helpful. But I guess I forgot when I was loading Blue Sky, or I'd been on it for a while and then I left and came back. So when I came back, I didn't remember to not save the password on the phone. Like, every time I do that, either that jerk, they got left on the iPhone, or some other jerk somewhere is just messing with me. And it's like, you have nothing better to do than mess with the poor. I have nothing you want. I have nothing to give you or anybody, you know, like, I mean, the people that would mess with you in that way, they want to have things that are not theirs. They want to get them by means that are not ethical. I want nothing to do with that kind of people. So, anyway, I finally remembered not to save the password on the phone, and then it stopped acting up. But it was doing it other places on my phone, too. And I don't know. I just don't know. Okay, so that was strange and unsettling. And then I go on Blue Sky, and I'm all ready to just enjoy myself and chat and look at pretty pictures and things. And I start talking to someone, and I was trying to be encouraging when I spoke to them, because I see people getting like really like unsettled and freaked out and nervous by the circumstances and the extrajudicial killings and things like that. And it is unsettling. And if you're not used to it, you're like, why is this happening? Why does this have to happen? And it's hard to keep in mind that none of what's happening is anything that we didn't all sign up for at a point that a lot of us are not remembering or even know that there is something to remember. So it's kind of like operating in the dark, you know, and because once you know things or remember things, like the fact that, you know, there's a prior arrangement, or there's an arrangement prior to birth that designates what your life is going to do. And that's by design. That is part of what, believe it or not, that is part of why you're doing that whole thing I just described. But even if you don't know all that, on some level you have to understand that things that are happening, you know, if they're happening without our knowledge, that's kind of on us. If they're happening and we're not being told things, that's on them for lying to people. All stuff you have to consider, like, as a serious person. But anyway, I have been watching, let's just say I'm starting a new paragraph here. I have been watching this show on Netflix called 11/22/63, which is the date that someone took the life of President Kennedy. And it's a time travel think piece kind of a thing, and paranormal, it ticks all of my boxes. So I'm watching it. I like the historical aspect too, and like, it's still undecided what exactly happened to JFK, or, you know, who and why and what happened, I should say, happened to the guy. So let's see, I'm just going to randomly pull a card. Empty well, time to replenish. So, just speaking, like, not about the show, but historically, when that incident I just was talking about from 11/22/63 happened, the world was full of hope. President Kennedy was, well loved, not by everyone, clearly, because of the plot that took him away from us. But we seemed, as a country, the United States, to be on a higher vibrational trajectory. The Civil Rights Act was being constructed and enacted around that time, and so, you know, people think that it's just a black thing, but it's not. Everyone needs civil rights for their protection, and that is all races. And also, it doesn't just, I don't think, apply to race exclusively. I think it also applies to like any sort of disadvantaged community or set aside or, you know, relegated to not as important as people that have money and political power and same crap as always. And so when that happened, the world felt like a psychic slap, I think, because people had high hopes for this guy, and not just in this country. Things were not like they are now, and I wasn't even born yet. I was born the next month, so I didn't really experience much of anything until many years after, but there is history to refer to and reflect upon. But it's a wound that I feel like got infected and just festered, and just like the Civil War, the way that it ended was not satisfactory to everyone, and to the people that it wasn't satisfactory, they couldn't just accept it. They had to feel like they had to go try and rectify things, and all that did was create more wounds. You know, it's just like after the Civil War, when I just recently learned, I'm going to get sidetracked now, and I hope I can remember where I was, but I just learned that I don't know what the deal was. I don't know why this was the resolution to whatever I don't know what the problem was that this was supposed to resolve it, but Lincoln, I guess, murdered 35. I just learned about this yesterday, so I might have the exact number wrong, but I think it was 35 indigenous people as some kind of deal for the other side. And so, that being said, I don't think that Lincoln decided to end slavery because out of compassion for the slave people. I mean, that may be what he said, but I mean, I just have to wonder how true that was, especially through a lens of this time. It's like, well, wait a minute. It's almost like the Constitution deciding, like, which men were 100% men and some were only a fraction. Like, what the hell kind of crap is that? But that is crap that we've had for a long time, as you just heard me say. So, when the Civil War ended, it ended the way that it should have, like, not to everyone's satisfaction, but it did end. And it ended the way it did with so many, like, giveaways to the losing side to protect order and maintain, like, some semblance of balance so that the country could get back together, which means that everybody got something, but nobody was entirely satisfied. And so today, and I do relate to this feeling, and I didn't really realize it until I saw somebody else say it, but I saw it and I was like, I 100% agree. When the Civil War ended, it should have been more decisive, more harsh, and there should have been punishments instead of placations, because it gave people the idea that, like, okay, well, we can't do it to that degree, but we can still be racist dickholes to this lesser degree, which is terrible. So, there was no proper closure, is what I'm trying to say, to the Civil War. There was all these wounds that happened that were unacknowledged, all of these things prior to the war that never got properly resolved or addressed. And it's not just black people, but it is a lot of black people, and it is a lot of indigenous people too. And I don't know if the numbers are as high as the black population, so I don't know what the deal is, but they got a raw one out of that whole situation as well. So, like, even though the things ended and the slavery ended, the aftermath and the resentment of the loss of that whole, like, control structure left a bunch of people feeling angry and empty, and they just never get over it. They're like revenging and revenging and revenging for years behind that. So I don't know if things would have been different if there were punishments and things were decisively ended. I think maybe that would have been good if not for the ambiguity of everyone's feelings after the war. Like, a lot of people felt okay with it. A lot of people felt not okay with it. And there's a whole bunch of other gray area in between that I'm sure affected people. And still does, because things have just gone downhill since then. Like, there's been achievements and technical blah, 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 but what's really important is, with or without all of that stuff, we as people have unresolved issues. And so it's looking like, okay, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm just saying the hope was gone. And it had left us, here's the card that I picked out, with this empty well feeling. And the subtitle, the card is Empty Well. It's the 16 card, so that's a 7. Hold on. Okay, I have the angel number here queued up, and I'm just going to say what it is for the number, that if you add 6 and 1 together, you get 7. That's where I'm getting the 7 from. Don't go dark. So, okay, so here's what it says about angel number 7. Number 7 resonates with the vibrations and energies of the collective consciousness. That's what I was just talking about. Faith and spirituality. Spiritual awakening and awareness. That's what I'm always talking about. Or if it's not clear, that's what I'm always talking about. Spiritual enlightenment, spiritual acceptance, and development. Okay, that hits on something that I also wanted to talk about. And I can even weave that into what I was saying. So, spiritual acceptance and development. So I talk about ETs a lot, and how I listen to their messages through people channel their messages. And it is a hard thing for a lot of people to believe and take seriously that there are ETs and that we interact with them in ways that are not face-to-face physical contact. And also, a very few of us, compared to the entirety of us, do have face-to-face encounters with these beings and do certain types of business with them in the realm of spirituality and awakening. There are other things involved with those contacts and interactions, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. So, one of the things that, also, I felt like yesterday was like a really momentous day, like something was really happening, things were really coming to a head, and I could just feel waves of movement in a way that I have never felt before, and kind of have like an idea of why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. So years ago, when I first started learning about the Galactic Federation of Light and the galactic races that are members of that federation, there's like a confederation, which is something else, a different group of different, and I guess some of the same entities, I don't mean entities, I mean galactic races other than humans. And so there is a concerted effort to help this planet raise its vibration so that it can join the Galactic Federation. We're so close, we're almost there. What a major block has been to that joining is our choices here, like what we have all decided to go through together, that feels really out of control right now. And so we have had sort of a lot of attention from a lot of different groups over time, over a really, really long time, like the beginning of on this planet, and not just the beginning of the recording of time, the beginning of this planet's time, like maybe even before it was a fully formed planet. The space race of people that I'm talking about, the galactic race of people that I'm talking about, are the Pleiadians, Pleiadians, okay? Sorry. And when I first started learning about their involvement, or remembering, actually, because when I started hearing about this stuff, I never felt like it was just a story. I never felt like it was some kind of, like, fiction. Like, I didn't. It just resonated oddly that there were space people involved with us. I'm sorry, but look at our entertainment since forever. We've always had stories about ETs, and mainly our fear of them, and then it's like a metaphor for something else that's actually happening in society that, for whatever reason, can't just come out and straight up said to people. Like, it has to be buried in metaphor and hidden in the story, and that's just how we do things. Because we just can't take it straight sometimes. So there's a famous painting of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, or yeah, it would be the Declaration of Independence, because it was right at the founding of the United States. And so it's got the signers, witnessing one of them sign it. I can't remember who's in the picture. I think Benjamin Franklin. Like, a lot of the signers on there are in that picture, that painting. And so one of the things I saw, and I want to interject and say that the QAnons turned me on to all of this, pin that. And so what I saw was that same famous painting, but from, like, zoomed out. where you can see more of what's not in the frame. Just think about that for a second. More than what's in the frame of the picture. So take the frame away and the picture just goes as further out. And what you see is behind the signer, behind the guy that is physically in the act of signing, is a Pleiadian in a Star Trek onesie. Yes, stop, like shaking your head no. Yes, I believe that happened. I believe that's real. They have always been in contact, one ET race or another, because the Pleiadians are, I guess, our earliest and main shepherds. This is kind of like they ascended a long time ago spiritually, and then once I guess a planet does that, they then graduate to doing what the Pleiadians did, like raising up another race and helping them evolve and ascend, which is a long-taking process, because if you think of how long stuff that we readily accept takes, things take long. The birth of a planet takes a long time in terms of our measurement of time. So anyway, they're there, like, watching over. I don't know if, like, sign this. I don't think it was sign this or else. No one had an expression like that. It was like they were just other guys there. Never mind that their clothes looked totally different. They just, I guess, had previous dealings and had just accepted them completely at that point. And their intervention. And I would imagine advice. And so, at the time, I was like, WTF? Because I felt like, did we do this of our own free will? Like, what is happening? And I think I may have developed a chip, or maybe I always have had the chip. So, as I've mentioned many times lately in videos, this 2024, 2025, I've been watching, maybe more in 2025, but whatever. I've been watching these videos for like a decade now that are channeled messages from various ET groups. And I have more than once found myself like sort of irritated with the Pleiadians, because in the latter part of what I'm saying about them is they are Trumpers. And so I was kind of made like, I don't even know if it was irrational anger, but it just came on like a slap. Like, how dare you? They said, they put out a video and the title card says Pleiadians in Congress, and then they show, what's her name, Maria Teresa Luna, who is a Republican, and I may be confusing her with a different Latino lady that was running, that I don't know if she ever got elected, but her political ads were always really angry. She's basically talking about murdering Dems or people that like disagree with Trumpers, and she had a big gun and was out in a field somewhere firing the big arm cannon. And I'm not going to say I wasn't impressed, but it wasn't the impression I think that she was trying to get people to have. It was not a good impression. Like, so that pissed me off. I'm like, why does this have to be the thing that we are all going through, and we're supposed to be so cosmically happy about it? Like, yes, it's part of the plan. I cannot stand it that it's like they're Republicans. The space people are disgusting Republicans, or the Pleiadians are anyway. So they just pissed me off all over again. Like, I already was like having to swallow my disgust over, and they don't come out and say it anymore. They used to when I first started listening to them, which, again, that pissed me off. So, there's a smudge on my glasses. Dang it! Anyway, they've been pissing me off for a long time with that stuff. And it is hard to just accept it. Number 7, spiritual acceptance. It is part of it. And because I understand that, I grudgingly accept it. But, yeah. So, yeah, that like, made me mad. And then I had to think about that. Like, well, why are you mad at them? And then I remembered how much I love the Arcturians. Like, them I have no problem with. And I feel like I have a sort of dialogue with both groups. But anyway, the Arcturians, almost every time they do a channeled message on the GFL station, or channel rather, they precede the message with, take what resonates, don't worry about what doesn't, just let it go. Don't even worry about it. And I love that. And there are a different tone, they're a different vibe, and they are helping the Pleiadians raise us, basically. They come from a different, they have a different vibe. And so, but I like before almost all of their messages on the GFL channel, they say that, like, take what resonates and don't worry about what doesn't, just let it go. The Pleiadians are a little more like, take your medicine, this is the words, and that's what there is. And they're not mean about it or anything. But like I was saying, they don't openly talk about, like, how Trump is, like, gonna save us all, like, what he's doing is so great, which they used to say, and that used to piss me off, because I was and still am. How can you guys be so behind this liar and depraved person? But that's the thing. It's part of, like, the plan to, I think, be able to witness and live with, because we already do and have to live with people like that and what they do. But on another level, he can be nothing but how he is, and he is perfect for where he is right now and in the other term, and basically his whole, like, public existence. He is this person that, I mean, a lot of us can find fault with. He's like an awful guy, but he is now losing his shine. His his ratings are down. The tides are turning against him. And so what that does is it allows us to see he's not, like, he's got a big mouth and he always, like, tells on himself. And so he often reveals what the ugliness is that he's out there doing. And we need to know that. But not just people that come from my point of view. It also has to be the people that love him and love what he says and love his terrible racist messages. They have to learn what a piece of poo this guy is and what terrible things he's doing to us and the rest of the world. And for us to know about it and want to do something about changing it, we have to know about it. And so, man, people keep calling to see those e-files, and I don't think they really realize what they're asking for. It is going to be the worst thing you can imagine, and even worse than that. So, anyway, I have to accept, and I made this decision. This is no one forcing me to do anything in this time of a lot of things being forced upon us. This is me making a sovereign decision myself, and understanding for myself of the gravity of having things that piss me off and seem totally wrong be part of the plan to eventual everybody awakening and just a better world and a better life, because that's what you're waking up to. Like, no more of the existence of the past, but we're transitioning from that. And while that's happening, we're still recovering from the emptiness that we gained from incidents like assassinations of presidents, beloved presidents, presidents with great potential, that the reason why the thing that happened to him happened is people don't want that potential to develop. So it is time to replenish, as the card says. Like, people are coming around to understanding what's been removed from us, often against our will or in surprising, horrible fashion. So there's that. And then another thing today I sort of picked up on while I was online was, uh-oh, hold on a minute. Let me think about this. Things that were making me mad today. I'm sort of losing it. Maybe this will remind me. I had pulled some Declarations of Mary Magdalene cards last night. Just to, I usually pull ones just for myself to look at, and sometimes I share them here, sometimes I don't. So here's one of them. Two came out. First one says, "Thou that wishes to harm others in any way, seen or unseen, leaves thy kingdom until thou seest the reflection of thine own self within others to heal thy wounds." This I thought was very pertinent because of that now very public very public loss of life at the hands of an ICE agent in Minneapolis. I don't think I need to say names. And there's a whole discussion about that, because black people are mad because white people are say her name, and black people feel like that's something exclusive to their community, and the black sort of experience that has just been ongoing forever, I guess. I guess black people just volunteered in the pre-birth contract thing to be the doormat for millennia and millennia. Like, but you know what the thing is we just take it and we're kind of like, we just keep on, because what else are you gonna do? You know, like, constantly be fighting against a battle that can't be won, I think, by physical fighting. I think that's why it hasn't ended. But the part about thou that wishes to harm others in any way, seen or unseen, leaves thy kingdom until thou see the reflection of thyself, I guess it's all of one thing, because it's another one of those long-ass sentences on these things. But what it was kind of getting across to me was that you cannot have noticed how oddly savage and angry and brutal the ICE agents are. And I think that corresponds to the low IQ factor. I think there's a resentment there of people that they just are angry that smarter people make them feel bad. And it's not smarter people making them do anything. It's themselves doing comparisons of themselves to people that they feel like they're lesser than. And I don't think that's an unusual state of mind for law enforcement types, for people I hesitate to call these guys law enforcement because they're not. The laws that they're enforcing are not the ones that are on the books. They're just doing whatever other butthurt people are assigning to them. So quotas and the training that these guys get, it's like, if you don't see that it's somebody's emotional reaction, then you are missing an essential piece of your soul. These people, in their resentment and hurt, actually, I think, and then fear of being seen as they're being presented, or fear of their actions making people say, like, disparaging things about them, or just people saying disparaging things about them because they're brutal and mean and ugly, and it's out of proportion. And you can only do that when you lose, I think, your sense of humanity. When you feel so low and so terrible about yourself that you can no longer value the lives of anyone else. You, in fact, are angry and resent them because of what your feelings are that are not necessarily or at all those other people's feelings, and they would have nothing to say to you negative if you weren't bringing that to these people. So it says there, until thou see the reflection of thine own self in others. They can no longer see themselves in other people. So it's not so much that the people they see, they don't see them as people. They no longer see themselves, I don't think, as the people. And that's not a great place to be. I mean, have you ever felt bad about yourself, like really down on yourself? I don't recommend it, but I'll say one thing. I don't think you feel the true depths of it until you've been, like, in the throes of addiction, trying to make yourself feel better about something using artificial seasonings, using substances that tend to blur and mute the pain, which, if anything, well, it might make you feel better momentarily, but it does absolutely nothing to repair the hurt. So I pulled a card while I was talking, and it's the Dragon's Hoard card, number 12, which breaks down to a 3. 3 represents a Trinity, the Holy Trinity, and other things. Hold on, let me take a look and see which other things that would be. Okay, go back. Single digits, number 3, come on. All right. The number 3 carries the vibrations of communication, self-expression, adventure, inspiration, and creativity, humor, optimism, joy, spontaneity, enthusiasm. 3 also symbolizes the principle of increase and growth, expansion and abundance on the mental, emotional, financial, and spiritual levels. 3 is the number of manifesting and manifestation, and carries the vibration of the Ascended Masters. The Ascended Masters help you to focus on the divine spark within yourself and others. That is the part that I must have been latching on to. The Ascended Masters help you, so there's not just ETs out there offering help in various ways. There are also the Ascended Masters, which would be someone like a Jesus, whose spirit has never gone away, just the physical presence. And there are many others, like there's a Chinese one, it's a woman named Kuan Yin, and there's Melchizedek, but Melchizedek is actually another manifestation of Jesus, I believe. He had other lifetimes beside the Jesus one. I have subsequently learned in my later portion of life. So anyway, the Divine Master, the Ascended Masters help you focus on the divine spark within yourself and others. So, while that is happening, the ugliness of the ICE agents' actions and other law enforcement types that have caused a lot of pain and misery through their actions, it is hard to see them, maybe as hard as it is for maybe as hard as it is for them to see the humanity in the people they beat and shoot and otherwise harm, as it is for us to see any goodness in them anymore. But it might be harder for the people attacking other people to see them as other people. How you lose that? I mean, I guess I talked about it. For these particular guys, especially since it was just revealed that they couldn't pass the tests that probably are not that difficult to become the ICE agents. They needed help from cheat sheets and actual textbooks right there that they could consult, and they still couldn't do it. So, I mean, my God, that's almost mentally crippled, and I don't think it's irreparable, but I don't think they ever had the desire to develop what intellect they had to be, adults and be so, stunted and backwards. And they have to know, whether they're saying it out loud to us or not, that makes them look like dumb people, stupid people. And so I think they're reacting to us that are protesting them. I think that's what that's where they're coming from. And I think it's well, you don't see me as anything worthy and good, so I'm gonna reflect that upon you and then beat the crap out of it. And it's sad because they're not beating the protester, really. They're beating themselves up. That is my feeling. So this is the Dragon's Horde card. It is a sort of a confusion of images. But I think, there is a dragon in there. It's interesting. The dragon to me looks an awful lot like a seahorse. Where's my indicator? Look at that. That is a very seahorse looking situation there. It also looks very small. And then what's with this whip tail? Oh, I don't know. Let me consult my memory of dragons. Do they have a long whip tail like that? They do have long tails, I guess, sometimes. Or not sometimes. They have long tails. This is the impression I'm getting. So the subtitle on this card is Protecting the Future. How is any of that protecting the future? Well, it might be actually what I was talking about earlier, the path to the resolution of all of that emptiness that was created, that has become soullessness at this point. Boy, have we forgotten how to just be people. People that can be loving toward one another and helpful and want to share what there is, whatever it is, because that is it's the best way around for all of us. So I'm going to read what the other Declaration of Mary card says, and it says something that I think we're going to be seeing more and more to be true, and it may even come from someone like Maria Teresa Luna, the apparent Palladian in Congress. Dang Palladians, just always putting a burr under my saddle. Oh, and let me interrupt here to say something I didn't say when I was talking about the Arcturians. The fact that they say that disclaimer take what resonates and forget about what doesn't. It's not for you right now, basically. They're in the Galactic Federation also, and they're not in disagreement with the Pleiadians. I mean, there might be some differences of application of help, but they're generally on the same page. But the point is that not everything is hunky-dory and everybody is like enlightened and getting along. People do have disagreements. They may not escalate to the degree that ours do, or in cases they have or can escalate way beyond our imagination because of technology and stuff we just have never even conceived of, situations and things. But how did I get there? What was I talking about? So yeah, I think, let me read the card, because I think what it's saying is going to be the truth. And the E-files have all of those people waiting, that have been waiting to heal the wounds that they received when they were suffering through proximity to these people. Eventually their voices are going to be heard, and it's going to make a difference. And there are already a bunch of women on fire in the world. Like, every offense just compounds that energy that we have to, like, put a stop to this kind of terrible behavior from men, and men seeking legacies. And it's like, you guys are all about to die, and you're so concerned with your legacy. And if you're so concerned about it, why don't you do something good instead of what you want? Like, I want to make the Soviet Union a thing again, or I want to change the whole United States in my image and put my name all over it. Like, nah. Who do you see doing that crap, man? Where's it gotten us? Here. Is it good? Not necessarily. So, here's what the card says. My true voice shall be heard through the women of this world once again, for I am, and thou art too, Mary Magdalene. And you might be saying to yourself, well, who is she? Who is she to say that? She is the person that was hidden from us, that we didn't get to know about honestly. We didn't get to know the truth of Mary. We got to know the disparaging things they said about her. This sort of situation that is happening right now, I think, where our leaders can't say anything good about anybody hardly, and that's really a bummer. How is that protecting the future? Well, we're, I guess, learning what we really want to have in the world or not. I think we're making those types of decisions right now. So I'm going to be wrapping it up here to my, I have I think a third and final portion of these remarks, and they have to do with, hi Puffer, come on brain, don't leave me. Protecting the future, showing us what we don't want to see. Well, the men have been in charge for a really long time, and like I just said, look where it's gotten us. Definitely there's been progress and good things have happened, but they've soured. Excuse me. I dropped our card. Oh my gosh, why is it still hurting? I'm in recovery. Okay, so the card that fell out is the 53 card, which if you add 5 and 3 makes the 8. 8, I can tell you generally, and I'm just going to go with this. I don't feel like I need to look up anything more than that for this, but 8 in tarot, for instance, well, actually, I will look it up, indicates strength. So, no, I don't want to do that. Let me just see what it says here. So I've been doing the angel numbers and not numerology. And the reason why I haven't done both is because they tend to say very similar things. And since I'm talking about the ETs and higher vibrational entities, I'm going to stick with the angel numbers and the angelic realm. So 8. Angel number 8 resonates with the influences and vibrations of authority and personal power, self-confidence, executive ability, confidence, inner strength, professionalism, and the professional, management, material freedom, success, good judgment, money, finances, riches, manifesting wealth, abundance, and prosperity, provision, investments, discrimination, and discernment. My cat is drinking. Where's that? Giving and receiving, sharing. Thoroughness, dependability, self-reliance, repose, practicality, consideration. Inner wisdom again. Oh, okay, it was inner strength. Inner wisdom, self-sufficiency, social status, pregnancy. Okay, that is... She also has the really long sentences with like no punctuation hardly. So you get the point. It is strength in like self-confidence, like the ability to hold it together, like the authority figure that you want because they can hold things together without like taking it down at the same time. So, okay, the card is the Stranger card, and there's a lot of sort of light pollution going on in this dark area that he's in, although it looks like he's near an opening. He's not in very far before it gets real dark, just as far as, like, light visibility is concerned. And then you can see he's doing something with his hands. He's gesturing, but he's also apparently casting some sort of energy because there it goes out and around his hand. The other hand seems to be doing something that's raising steam. And then he's got this reflection pool because he's probably scrying in it. And the subtitle on this card is Curiosity. So this card talked about a dragon's hoard, and that is kind of like what is happening right now. Like all these wealthy people hoarding all kinds of money and influence and power and using it, attempting to use it to their own advantage. But the people with a whole lot of money are trying to like live and use the system that is not meant for that type of, the wealth is like breaking systems and not in a good way, or it feels bad, but it also is something we have to address because the blind acquisition of wealth and property is empty. It is like soulless because it's like it wants to wipe inconvenience in the form of people right out of the way, or it doesn't care what like pollution it gets spills on them. And so they want to hoard their money and not share even the little bit that it would take to help a whole lot of people in a whole lot of ways that really need the help. And they're kind of the only place it can come from, since they're also, like, their acquisition often involves looting from the public funds. And that is blatantly happening right now. So they're so concerned with protecting the future and leaving behind a legacy and an inheritance for their spawn. But it's like, if you guys raised them, they're not great. They're not going to make America great again or ever if their whole world is the acquisition of wealth at the cost of everyone else. Like, that's just not sustainable. And it is breaking systems. And then also, they want to hide behind their wealth and manufactured authority to hide their peccadillos, basically. Like, they're doing stuff with people and animals that they should not be doing. Like, it's just wrong, and they know it. But they, I guess, feel like, we can't do what the poors do. We can't do normie stuff. We're special. We're rich. We're different. You're different, all right. So, that brings us to Stranger. And I did mention this guy's at the reflecting pool. It's scrying. Because what you do when you scry is you sort of get a glimpse into the future. And I'm just not real sure what's going on with this guy's hands. It's part of whatever ceremony he's executing. But to scry at the reflecting pool is to get a glimpse of potential futures. Like, what potential timelines are there out there? And you are, like, that is curiosity, like, in a nutshell. What other potential futures are out there? So, okay, here's the final part. It just came back to me. So I have been, like I said, I've been watching that show, and one of the things that recurs in the show is being out of place and being out of time. And at first I thought it was like one guy, but it's actually the place that the character goes back to in the past, recognizing that there is a foreign object in there. And so in the form of a person, at first, one person that he begins to identify with this phenomenon that comes up to him every time he enters there and says, "You don't belong here." And then as he ends up staying longer for reasons in the plot, he consults his notes from the gentleman that he is friends with in the present that sent him into the past for reasons. And so, while he's there in the past, he's consulting his notes from his friend in the future, and he says, the past doesn't want to change. And I feel like we're living through that now. It's like the future doesn't want to be the past, and they're trying to, a lot of our authorities are trying to force the past upon us, like the things that we worked so hard to escape, like the building of the civil rights. They have basically undid those laws and made it so that I guess we don't have those rights anymore. And I don't want that. I wish we didn't have to have a law that made it. I wish that every time there was some objectionable race or sexuality that comes along, that they gotta ostracize it. And it's like, why do we gotta relitigate the same thing? They're otherized. They need the civil rights. Why is it a question? Why does it always have to be a big deal? I don't know, because some of us think like ICE agents, I guess. But I got the feeling today that I was experiencing that same phenomena. Like, the present doesn't want you to do this or that. And so what I feel like the present doesn't want me doing is latching onto the fear and anger that is expressed every day because of what our ICE agents and authority figures are doing to us, their own fellow Americans, and the general public. Which, a lot of us in the general public are not Caucasian, and those are the people they're coming after. They're not even really bothering with any pretense of, so you're American, so that you have the papers that we insist that you have. That was just a pretense. We're going to take you anyway. That was the ultimate goal all of the time. Or if it wasn't, that's what it escalated to. And the people were like, yeah, let's do that. So the people that are being escalated upon are saying, no, let's not do that. It's, I feel like that's our present and past having a tug of war. And we're feeling it, we're seeing it, but I don't know if we understand how much we're feeling it. Because we have reverberations going back to 11/22/63 that are still affecting us. The Reagan administration still affecting us. The Nixon administration, let's do that failed attempt again to overtake everyone and just be in absolute power. And no, and then these monarchists, these guys that just want one ultimate ruler. Why? That's not going to cause something bad to happen to you eventually? Do you not read history? Do you not know Shakespeare? Do you know nothing? Loyalty to crazy people ends up with the people around them, and the people that they should be serving harmed, injured, or worse. When? When will we absorb the lessons? It's something that we're moving out of, though, thankfully. We're just holding on, some of us, by the teeth and the claws and the teeth. We want to keep this old raggedy crap that hurts a bunch of people. And the bunch of people are like, we do not want that anymore. We get it. We're done. We're over it. You need to get over it. And so that push and pull, I think we can feel in just our present day life, because those are attached to so many tendrils that are attached to things that we are all attached to. It's it's kind of gross and icky if you think of it that way, like a bunch of tentacles, but that's the feeling that I'm getting is happening. So, I haven't finished that show. I don't know how it's going to end up, actually. I have a better idea of how our future is going to end up. And I can just say that I think that we are going to be sick and tired of being sick and tired in enough of a collective group that we can overpower the things that have been overpowering unfairly the rest of us. So let's just see if I pull one last card here. Let's see if it has. Let's just see what it has to say. Oh, you're just gonna be all mellow. So this is why I don't shuffle on camera. It just takes a long time. All right, let me see. Sometimes this way will coax the card that I would like to come out, whichever one that is, to show itself more quickly. Nope. Not that time. Let's try it again. Alright, I'm just going to pull it. And we got the number 52 card. 7 again. Oh, it's perfect. So we're straddling, the card is straddling two worlds. I'd say that's pretty apt. we got 1 foot in the ice world and 1 foot in the world that's water. We want the water, not the ice. Ice is hard and unforgiving. Water is more supple, and if you don't come at it from too great a height at too great a speed, it will accept you gently and pleasantly. The other way, not so much. That would be punishing. Unless you're a skilled diver. So, Wandering Between Realms is the subtitle. And here's what the card looks like. Sorry, I didn't just hold it up. So, yeah, still in that 7 awakening spiritual area that, I mean, we're all just kind of in that right now. It's not like a personal thing, it's a collective thing. But we personally have to get together with the collective. Wandering between realms, it's kind of like things are ambiguous. They could be safe, they could be unsafe. And, you know, the thing to remember is, while there's all of this negativity that we can so easily point to, that's not all there is. We can't really, I mean, we can try, we do try to, like, force people to feel and think certain ways, and boy, a lot of work has been done to brainwash and gaslight people and make them, like, what is the deal with having to make people think things that are not true are the truth? Like, why are you forcing lies and bullcrap on people? It's not okay. Nobody wants to be lied to. Nobody wants to be devalued in such a way that you're not even worth telling the damn truth to. That is like I wish it was a feeling more of a shared but I'm being asked to remember or to remind that we don't all learn at the same rate. We're not all in the same grade, to make it real simple. And so when we're in school, I know I sure wasn't concerned about the grades behind me, but this life that we're that we incarnated into on this world is a place of learning. And so when we successfully graduate, we have awakened and we have raised the vibration of the whole planet and allowed great change to take place. I'm saying it like it already happened. I guess that's the way you should look at it. With any kind of endeavor going forward that you would like to succeed at, you have to have a positive state of mind. If your mindset is, I'm gonna fail, this is totally wrong, guess what? That's probably what's gonna happen for you. Be careful what you wish for. And also, in reality, be careful what you wish for. Are you sure? That's not even the right question, because I was going to say, are you sure you really want to know what's in those e-files? I'm going to say, you don't. Trust me. I just took the smallest look at it, and I already know what to expect. The worst, beyond the worst. And what I did get a glimpse of confirmed my suspicion. I knew it was bad, we all know it was bad, but we don't really expose ourselves to this kind of stuff routinely. I don't care how many horror movies you watch. This is beyond that. This is, no one dreamt of doing these things that is in their right mind. So, I mean, I don't know if people really understand what they're screaming and hollering to see. But you will learn, and you're not going to like it. You're not going to feel righteous justification, you're going to feel sick. You're not even going to be able to deal with dealing with it right away. And I don't know. Remember when Nancy Mace came out of that hearing and saw what was happening with some of that stuff and what a wreck she was? Sorry to say so, but I think it's the truth. She is someone who routinely presents as she is not truly. So she's practiced at it, and she was barely holding it together when she came out of that, and she's not doing well, I don't think, in the aftermath, where you would think might have recovered from what she's seen. I think what it's done is gone deep and disturbed whatever happened to her and brought it all back in technicolor, in living color, which I don't know if you've had like a terrible experience where someone overpowered you, but I know, unfortunately, it's happened to me more than once, and I don't want to relive any of it. So, and it was a picnic compared to what's in those files. Be careful what you ask for. Thank you and good night.